Mr. Michael Bloomberg, founder of Bloomberg and Bloomberg Philanthropies, and three terms mayor of New York City. It's great to have you at الشرق Business with Bloomberg. And while we'll be here at Bloomberg NEF, we're happy to be here too also.
And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. A lot of questions, of course, in mind. Let us start with day two. One of the ideas behind the Bloomberg NEF, I believe, is that to link East to West and to bring the public and the private sector on one table together. How do you see this coming so far? What do you expect? And what about the initiatives that was talking about this day in particular, the amount of funds?
We have to have people talking together. It's good for business, it's good for tourism, it's good for our cultures, it's good for security. When people are talking, they're not fighting. It's when they stop talking to each other that things degenerate. And particularly in this world that gets more dangerous all the time because of technology. You know, technology is a great thing. It gives us a lot of good stuff. It also makes the world a more dangerous place and requires greater leadership from all countries to settle their problems or at least work to ameliorate them. And you know, I think you can see that in Biden with Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
Nothing bad can come out of a 3-hour meeting. It's
Nothing
good that they have.
bad, but what about the action? Like we talked a lot in G20 also and COP27 about a lot of issues. Nothing was like really on ground. So what about Bloomberg
with Biden and Xi Jinping? You don't go and solve problems with just a 3-hour talk. Okay, these things take a long time with a lot of people and a lot of after the fact saying, I thought you said this and you thought I said that, and okay, so we didn't understand each other as well as you would have liked. Let's go and work it out together. So even a concrete decision doesn't end at that point. The real world is it takes a while to implement.
You're right, but do we have the luxury of time right now?
You have no choice. If you can't do it in the short term, you don't have the choice. But China and America still do an enormous amount of business one with the other. There's an enormous number of people here from China and a decent amount of people from the United States over in China. And we're going to be doing business together and cohabiting in a world where neither of us can afford to have the world blow up. We both have very big vested interests in having relationships that are peaceful, and if we want to make them profitable, relations that are, give you the ability to understand each other and to find common ground.
Let us talk about the recent U.S. midterm elections. I'm not going to go through details, of course, otherwise we will need another interview for that. But about the impact on U.S. relations with the Middle East in general and with Saudi Arabia in specific. Like you know, recently the relation was stressed a little bit between the two countries. How do you see it on the long run?
Well, there's always stress between any two countries. The Middle East is a long ways from America. America's a long ways from the Middle East. But Saudi Arabia is still an ally of America. And we need Saudi Arabia to help keep the peace there. I might also point out that in Saudi Arabia, there's been some changes in the last couple of years, particularly for women, that took an enormous number of years, hundreds of years in America to do. And it was done there overnight.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the MENA region and the changes, as you said, like big oil revenues for GCC companies, less inflation rates compared to other countries, and the promising projects like in Saudi Arabia through NEOM and other projects. To what extent do you see a big change or a big change would be reflected on these economies, and to what change would they attract foreign investments, especially that now developed countries are moving faster towards recession?
You can take a look at the Middle East. They've all of a sudden, peace and cooperation and commerce have broken out between those countries and Israel, and between those countries. The Arab countries had plenty of differences and battles back and forth. I think those are less intrusive today than they were before. That's probably going in the right direction. It's certainly healthy for the Arab countries and Israel to work together, for everybody in the region. The problem in the region is there's still some countries that are pariahs and are left out or deliberately trying to damage, hurt other people, and we've got to somehow or other figure out ways to hopefully get them to change their government and start cooperating. It's in their interest and in everybody else's interest.
So are you planning new investments in GCC area or countries?
We invest all over the world. Our business
this area in specific?
In the Middle East, our business in virtually all of the capitalistic Middle Eastern countries keeps growing. You can see it more Bluemberg terminals, you can see it more people being interviewed from that part of the world. That's another way is to measure whether or not what they are doing, whoever they is, and is it germane to us, whoever we are.
Yeah. Talking about the elections and the impact it has on, or it will have on climate issue. Like John Kerry, the US climate envoy, said a Republican win the midterm election would cut the flows of climate finance to poorer countries. Do you agree?
Well, the Republicans did not do well in the midterm elections that we just finished a week ago. And I think that is those people who didn't get elected were some of the people who were the worst on this issue. So better than that. But the Democrats don't own the climate issue. There's a lot of things that they have not supported that we need. Everybody wants solutions, but nobody wants to sacrifice. And it's a function, not of party, more than of politics.
Yes, this also brings us to question, like, till when would the change of climate file would be a hostage maybe to the US, like to different parties ruling and that has different agendas?
I'm not sure. Look,
the main funds are from
the US. We have to do something to stop climate change or we're all going to be dead. Yes. And every country's got to participate. And if one or two countries doesn't participate, everybody else suffers. The nice thing about climate change is if you do something good, the whole world benefits. If you do something bad, however, the whole world suffers. So I think America has come a ways. If you take a look at the greenhouse gases, they've leveled off in America. In India and China, they continue to go up at that rate. So the difference between here and here is getting bigger all the time. But having said that, we're still at much too high a level. So we can look ourselves in the mirror and say we're doing a good job. No, you're doing a less bad job would be another way to phrase it.
Okay, like still there's a lot to do. In the midterm election, the Democrats' support come from abortion rights, not from the climate issue. In spite of all the funds, including yours, and support for this issue in particular. Like, why is so?
I'm not sure what... I think the public voted a lot on the issue of a woman's right to choose and voted very much in favor of giving, saying women should be in charge of their own bodies. Not everybody, but it is certainly was heartening to see the results this time for that issue.
What more can be done to see results?
Well, you can continue. There's still laws that are limiting a woman's right to choose in some states, and we've got to fix those laws. There's still lots of states, however, that do give women the options. I'm not in favor of abortion. I don't think anybody's in favor of abortion, but you have to decide who makes the decision, and I think it should be a woman.
All right. So how realistic also you see the current goals being discussed in COP27, for example? Like, we still did not reach the point where we are acting towards this.
No, that's not fair. We've closed 70% of all the coal-fired power plants in America are closed or being closed. 50% of all the coal-fired power plants in Europe are closed or being closed. Those are big numbers, and we are making a difference. Do we have a ways to go? Yes, no argument about that.
If you allow me very quick questions and answers, where do you think are some of the promising and profitable investments right now? Promising or profitable investments right now?
I don't manage my own money. I have no idea. I'm the last person that should give you advice on what to buy and sell. But I will say that predicting the future is very difficult. And I think people that speculate with their hard-earned money are making a mistake. Making judgments and having a strategy where you invest slowly and carefully. It will keep you from being a billionaire, but it'll also keep you off the breadline.
If I may ask Mr. Bloomberg, after your retirement, who will run Bloomberg?
I have no intention of retiring.
That's the spirit. This is what we want also. Do you have any ideas or plans maybe you dreamt of and you still did not make your dream come true?
Any plans
or dreams that you still did not make come true?
Well, working on my golf game and my Spanish, two things that I work on, and I'm certainly not where I want to be.
Thank you very much for
this
interview. It was one of the most interesting to me, and I want to thank you again for
Happy
that,
to do
Mr.
it.
Bloomberg. Thank you.
Nice.